The Great Depression all started on October 29, 1929, when the stock market crashed. However, this was due to happen for years. The U.S. had an unstable economy for all of the 1920s. The stock market crash, known as Black Tuesday, has debates on what exactly caused it. Theories include that stocks were greatly overpriced and a crash was bound to happen soon. The Great Depression impacted nearly all Americans, as well as people in other countries. America got involved after World War I, when Europe owed debts to the U.S. and they weren't able to pay it off, as their economy was faltering. The U.S. started imposing taxes on Europe so they couldn't get out of their unstable economy. They started to take advantage of Europe to get cheaper imports, which only made the situation worse. The economy of the United States was only intact as long as the flow of the capital continued. In Seattle, the Great Depression had all kinds of deficits. It had a very big economic impact on Washington. One example is that the Great Depression left many people unemployed. Many people worked in the lumber industry, and when that industry started to collapse, many people not only lost their jobs but their housing as well, since many workers lived on-site at lumber camps. This impacted Washington because the lumber industry was huge, so many people depended on it. After the industry collapsed, many people were left homeless and jobless. Another example is that the Great Depression left a very unstable economy, and many people were struggling to get any money at all. The stock market crash was not the sole cause of the Great Depression, but the U.S. economy was actually very unstable before the events of Black Tuesday occurred. Life for farmers especially was hard. A bushel of wheat that sold for $3 before was only 30 cents during the Great Depression. It took about a year for the full effects of the Great Depression to hit Washington state. There are no exact records of unemployment rates in Seattle, however, these are the best estimates. About 6 months after the Great Depression started, in April of 1930, about 11% of Seattle was unemployed. Just over 5 years after the Great Depression started, in January of 1935, it was about 26.5% unemployed. This shows that many people suffered and could barely afford to keep supporting themselves and their families. The Great Depression also had a huge social impact. One example is that many people had to move into camps because they could no longer afford to live in their houses. These camps were called Hoovervilles, and they were named after the non-empathetic president at the time, Herbert Hoover. Many people were forced to live in these camps after they could no longer support themselves. Another example is that the citizens of Washington had to realize how much they needed to help their fellow residents. One person named Carl Brannon created a newspaper company for unemployed people to work at and earn at least a little bit of money. This shows that people who still had money had to look out for other people who had lost their jobs and help them earn money. The Great Depression finally ceased at the end of World War II. However, things were beginning to improve economy-wise as soon as the war began. When Roosevelt took over for Hoover in 1933, the New Deal Act was quickly put in place to help the economy get back to normal in the United States. The New Deal included a 4-day bank closure to encourage people to save money, as well as ending prohibition so that the sales of alcohol helped put the economy back in place. The Great Depression will forever be a reminder at how easy the economy can collapse and has left a great legacy on not only Washington state, but the whole country.